Fallout Equestria Survivors Guild, Chapter 11, Part 3.
Gearframe, we have visitors here to help you.
Bluebell said as we entered her house, where an earth pony stallion with a dark coat and a gray mane was working at a strange-looking device.
Let me guess, that's the central control for the holograms?
Ark whispered to me.
Yep, that's the one.
I answered with a nod.
It's a tricky piece of equipment. I'm guessing it's been glitching out and causing problems. Yeah, well, I don't know how to repair a hologram central control system.
Ark whispered.
Don't worry about it. They designed it to be easy to learn how to repair.
I said with a nod.
You'll do fine. While we get this repaired, I'll see about the key. You really should tell us why these keys are so important,
Cherry whispered.
If they're putting stables in danger, shouldn't the NCR and their allies know what they are?
I paused for a long moment at that question. It wasn't that I hadn't really considered telling them, but I wasn't sure that they should know. I didn't trust the Enclave or the NCR with this kind of power, and I wouldn't reveal its true nature unless it was necessary.
Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
Cherry just looked at me worriedly as Ark went to work onto the device. I turned to Bluebell, who was just giving me a smile.
Mayor, I'd like to take a look at the terminal in your office. Oh, of course.
Bluebell said, though she looked at me strangely. She was probably wondering how I knew that there was a terminal in her office.
Right this way.
I checked the terminal and breathed a sigh of relief. The key was still intact, so the Enclave had never been here, at least not yet. Out of curiosity, I checked the stable systems while I was there. Most of it seemed to be in order, though it looked like the computer was holding a lot of data for some reason, along with redundancies and backups. Some pony had worked hard to make sure that this stable was working right.
Alright, thank you,
I said with a smile.
Everything seems to be in order right now. I just need to know where we'll be staying tonight.
Bluebell nodded and led me, Cherry, and Star out of the house while Ark continued working. More ponies were out right now as the sun above started to go down. The town, it felt so normal. And yet, I knew what was hiding under its illusion. I just had to hope that I never had to expose the truth to these ponies. We were escorted to an empty building where we were told that we could stay. As we started to get settled in, there was the sound of running hooves against the wooden floor as some pony rushed out from under the bed. Star was up in a flash and moved in front of the door to block the pony's escape as they came to a stop. It was a little earth pony filly with a pink body and orange mane, and she looked up at Star fearfully.
Who are you? Why are you in my house?
She said, shakily.
I'm sorry, Miss Scootaloo. Her parents were the last to vanish, and she keeps coming back home in hopes that they will be here.
Bluebell said with a shake of her head.
Come on, Sunshine. They just need a place to stay. Let's get you back to your grandpa's house. But I want to stay here. What if Mommy and Daddy come back while they're here?
The filly protested.
You can't make me go. Then you can see them when they come to you. It'll be okay.
Bluebell said with a sigh as she ruffled the filly's mane gently.
She can stay with us if she wants,
Cherry offered, and I nodded in agreement.
We'll all wait for your parents together. Really?
The filly asked as a smile crossed her muzzle.
Really? We love kids, right, Star?
I said as I looked over at the Pegasus.
We'd love to have you,
Star said with a nod.
Plus, we're here to help find your mommy, daddy, and all of the missing ponies. That's great!
Sunshine said as she danced around happily. I smiled a little. That filly certainly had a lot of energy. I just hoped that we wouldn't let her down, though.
Alright, Sunshine, just promise that you'll be on your best behavior. We don't want you getting in trouble.
Bluebell said as Star moved from the doorway.
I promise, Mayor Bluebell,
Sunshine said with a nod. I smiled and offered the filly a hoof.
Hey there, I'm Scootaloo. It's nice to meet you, Sunshine. You too,
Sunshine said with a smile.
Are you the newcomers that my grandpa mentioned? Is Gearframe your grandpa?
Cherry asked curiously, and the filly nodded.
Yep, then that would be us, and we're here to help find your parents. Thank you, thank you, thank you!
Sunshine said as she hugged me tight.
You're all the best!
I smiled and ruffled the filly's mane gently again.
Thanks. We try our best,
I said.
Now, why don't you go get ready for bed?
She nodded and ran off to the other room.
Such a cute kid,
Cherry said as she checked her pip book.
That's weird. Oh, what's weird?
I asked.
Well, it looks like it's around 2100 hours outside, right?
She said, and I nodded.
Check the time on your pipbook.
I looked at my pipbook, and I was surprised to see that the timer read only 1800 hours, and there was a difference of 3 hours between what time it looked like in the stable and what time it actually was. That was a little bit weird.
That's odd,
I commented.
Why is the hologram system making it look later? I don't know, but something about this feels really weird.
Star said, and she looked outside.
I'm seeing holes where there's supposed to be the sky. Is it possible that the holograms are shorting out? That's very weird. What's going on?
I said as I examined the sky. Indeed, there were patches that looked like the rusting ceiling of a stable. So was this connected to why ponies were vanishing?
Just another mystery to solve tomorrow. Anyway, I'll leave you two alone. Try not to get into any trouble.
Star said as she left the room to go find Sunshine. As much as we tried to, we couldn't get to sleep yet. It still felt like it was too early. We spent most of the time talking, and I was curious to learn more about what had been going on in Stable 48. The topic eventually turned back to stable tech and our current situation. In truth, I only had a passing knowledge of how holograms worked that had been set up into the stable, but in theory, they were capable of recreating any environment.
So, what about ponies? You know, I don't know, actually.
I admitted.
I don't think Rabronco ever tested that, but it's certainly possible, in theory at least. I don't know if they ever really intended the holograms to be used like that, though. Well, you never know,
Cherry said with a shrug and a yawn. It was finally getting to be too late as we lay down into the bed.
Scootaloo, about earlier. Don't worry about it, Cherry, don't worry.
I said quickly, probably a little too quickly.
Let's just get some rest, okay? We have bigger problems to worry about. Okay.
She said, and she snuggled up to me.
Good night, Scootaloo. Good night, Cherry.
I said, and nuzzled her gently as she drifted off to sleep. I stayed up a little while longer. In truth, I couldn't even stop thinking about what happened today. Was it possible that she thought of me as more than just a friend? If so, what would I even tell her? It felt like my life was about to get a lot more complicated, and, well, as is, it's already complicated enough. I sighed and closed my eyes as I drifted off to sleep. It was something that I'd have to figure out later. We were making our way around Stabletown and talking to different ponies that had family members vanish, and that started with Sunshine. I was a little bit worried that we would be putting the filly through this again, but Star insisted that she would be the best candidate since her parents had vanished the most recently.
So, what was happening on the day your parents vanished, Sunshine?
Star asked the little filly the next day.
Was there anything unusual about what was going on? No, it's pretty much just like any other day,
the filly said with a shrug.
They went to the outskirts of the town in order to pick up some berries for dinner, and they never came back. Is it possible that they left the town?
Cherry asked.
No. No pony ever goes past the outskirts,
Sunshine said as she shook her head.
It's against the rules. Interesting,
I said quietly. There actually should be a lot more than they could explore. I mean, the holograms were programmed to show a fairly large area outside of town if a pony wanted to leave it. So why would they not leave the town? Something about that was really weird.
So, if that's the case, what would happen if they did leave the outskirts?
I asked curiously.
No pony really knows,
Sunshine said with a shrug.
Mayor Bluebell said that there were dangerous creatures out there, and my grandpa has made me promise never to leave, but you came from beyond the outskirts, right? So, what was it like? It's not too different from here. We come from another good town a distance away,
I said. It wasn't really a lie, it just wasn't the whole truth.
So, if you're not here because of the vanishing ponies thing, why are you here? It's a long story,
I said. I tried to figure out how to describe what was going on without scaring the filly.
There are some bad ponies out there who wants to get to Stabletown and hurt you and the others. We're here to help you and keep them from doing that. Oh, okay,
Sunshine said with a smile as we saw Arclight and Gearframe approach us.
Grandpa!
I smiled a little as the filly ran over and hugged the old maintenance pony.
Hey, so, you two have any luck?
I asked as Ark came over to us.
A little. We still have a ways to go before this whole thing is all set up.
Ark said, and she looked over at Gearframe.
I have to say, he's one of the more brilliant ponies I've ever met. He knows this equipment inside and out. Which still makes me wonder why it seems to be failing,
Cherry commented. We had seen a few more strange sights like the stable floors showing in some places that wouldn't be easily noticed.
It's certainly possible that it's just because it's so old, but I think we can get it repaired,
Ark said.
Have you had any luck? Not really,
I said, and Star nodded a little.
There doesn't seem to be any common thread of ponies vanishing. All ages, all types, both genders, it seems to be almost random at times.
Star looked thoughtful for a moment as she tried to think about what the right answer might be. Honestly, I was a little bit worried about this. I mean, it certainly felt like something was happening that we weren't seeing, and that really worried me.
So, did you get any other data onto the system?
Star asked.
Well, just that it used a lot of processing power,
Ark said with a shake of her head.
It's actually more than I thought this place would require, actually. Yeah, I actually noticed the same thing,
I said with a nod.
This might be worth investigating at least. Yeah, but there's one place we do need to go first,
Star said.
We need to investigate the outskirts of the town. Something about all of this is really weird. I agree. That is as good a place as any to start anyway,
I said with a nod.
If we can find any answers, it'll be there. Let's just hope that we're not too late,
Cherry said with a sigh.
This town has enough problems already.
I nodded, and after telling Sunshine what we were doing, we headed down the main road through town. A few ponies waved at us as we went past, and I smiled at them. This place was nice, almost idyllic, a piece of a world long gone. It felt like I was back in my dream world again, to be honest, and it was kind of unsettling in a weird way, the same way that dreams are, at least. We headed out of town as we followed the instructions we had been given by Mayor Bluebell, the spot where no pony was allowed to pass. I wasn't really quite sure what I had been expecting, but it certainly wasn't this. It was so ordinary. There were rolling hills here and there, and the sky in the distance. Nothing at all seemed to be off.
Okay, this was a bit anticlimactic,
Cherry said, and she looked around.
What exactly were we expecting here? Some sort of clue, I guess?
Star said as she examined the ground.
At least something more than this. Yeah, this looks normal,
Ark said, and she was just as surprised as the rest of us.
Is this where the ponies vanished? As far as we can tell, yeah. You know what? Hold on. I'm gonna try something,
I said as I picked up a rock and threw it as far as I could towards the hills in the distance, and then it seemed to just pass through something and vanish.
Okay, I'm not the only one who just saw that, right? That is most definitely not normal,
Star said as she walked forwards towards where the rock had vanished.
Are you sure that you want to do that? What if this is what happened to every pony else?
Cherry said worriedly.
Yeah, I really don't want to have to explain to your wife and daughter that you disappeared mysteriously,
I said as I walked forward.
Don't worry, I'm not going all the way through,
Star said and leaned forward. Her head poked through the... whatever that was, and she pulled back out.
It's safe, it's safe. This is just where the hologram ends, and there's nothing but stable back there. That's odd. The hologram should be covering everything,
I said as I poked my head in. Sure enough, there was nothing but rusting walls and old storage crates. This was the real Stable 117.
Ark, you've been working on the hologram system, right? Was there any sort of indications that this might be happening? Well, it's been glitching out for a while, and there has been a bit of a power drain onto the systems around the stable, in particular, some in the more uninhabited sectors,
Ark said with a frown.
So, are you saying that something is wrong with the holograms? Well, that would explain why the days are shorter,
Cherry commented.
Shorter days means less active ponies, which means less power would be used. Right, but that still doesn't really answer the question of what happened to all the ponies that did vanish,
I said thoughtfully.
We'll have to investigate this further. Come on, let's go see the rest of the stable.
We moved through the barrier and back to the stable proper. As we started to look around, I was half expecting something like, I don't know, dead bodies, dead piles around the stable where the missing ponies had died, but there was nothing. This area looked like it had been part of the lower levels of the stable and was just used for storage. When we opened the boxes, they contained food and medicine that looked like they had been stockpiled.
That's weird. Why have all of this here?
Star commented as she examines each of the boxes.
How does food even work here? Food is supposed to be grown in special parts of the stable, like the orchards and other stables, so kinda like normal, really.
I said. I had briefly seen the orchard when we entered the town.
This whole thing feels weird. This stuff should be enough to maintain an entire population, but it's all being left here. Is it possible that the missing ponies are here? Or that they've been leaving the stable?
Cherry asked.
I mean, I doubt it. The stable door is right at the entrance of town. Some pony would have noticed.
Orc said with a shake of her head.
No. I think something else is going on here, and there may be only one way to figure that out. Whatever it is. Oh. Please don't tell me we're gonna have to shut down the holograms.
I said with a groan.
We need to anyway. It's the only chance and only way I can get the system repaired.
Orc said with a shake of her head.
What's weird is that it's obvious. I don't know why Gearframe hasn't done it already. Another mystery for the huge pile of mysteries we already have.
I said with a sigh.
Alright, but can we at least talk to the mayor first about it?
Ark nodded and we started heading back towards the hologram. As much as I hated to admit it, Ark was right. We needed to shut down the holograms down for a short time at least, if we wanted to try and figure out what was really going on here.
So, how are the ponies going to react to the fact that they've been living a lie this whole time?
Cherry asked as she looked at me worriedly.
Honestly, Cherry, I have no idea.
I said with a sigh.
We just have to hope that they'll be okay, and we can always get the holograms working again anyway. Let's just hope that everything will be okay. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be.
Cherry said with a sigh as we passed through the hologram and headed back towards Stabletown.